And this is going to be interesting. I really want to hear what people have to say because we are going to talk about Kevin Durant and weed. You know, Stephen A. used to always, what was that famous line he'd always say? Stay off the weed. Right, Martin?
You said it wrong. It's weed.
Oh, weed.
You got to add the weed.
You know what we do at USC, and Martin, you know that because you have a master's degree from USC, which is amazing because when you came to LA 5 years ago, you didn't have one, but now he has one. And what we tell our students at USC is whenever they're doing like commentary and whatnot, you know, it's hard for the kids not to say us or we because, you know, they go to USC, right? And you're not supposed to say that, and you got to be objective. So, you know what we tell them? Stay off the weed.
Oh, man.
That's pretty good.
That right there. That right there is a perfect opportunity for the Joe West. You're out. It's a perfect chance. I need a swing and the miss for Rob Parker. I need a strike three.
I think that's a great thing to tell a kid. Stay off the we, you know, because it's not about we. We're not a we. All right. Anyway, so Kevin Durant has partnered with something called Weedmaps. Does that get you to the destination while you're high? Is that what that is?
Wow.
I'm trying to figure it out. But our producer, Lee.
He has partnered with something called Weedmaps. Everyone under 35 in America is looking at you like, wow, who is this guy?
I don't smoke weed, and I don't know about Weedmaps.
You don't have to be under 35. You don't have to smoke weed to know what Weedmaps is.
I'm just saying. All right, so Lee DeLapp, our producer, Lee, kind of give us a little more on this story, and then Martin and I can get into a knockdown drag out.
Yeah, well, for one, Weedmaps doesn't directly sell any pot, but it does direct you to dispensaries for medical marijuana. So
that's what it is. I got it. Now that makes sense. Okay.
I mean, the name should have gave it away, Rob.
No, I was thinking that you know, like when you're high, it tells you what route to take.
All right, Rob. So Kevin Durant, he did announce this partnership and sponsorship deal with Weedmaps, and it's in his mind a way for him to destigmatize the marijuana use among athletes. He actually told this to ESPN. I think it's far past time to address the stigmas about cannabis that still exist in the sports world as well as globally. This partnership is going to help us continue to normalize those conversations as well as create content, events, and a lot more through Boardroom Media Network. This is just the beginning for us. And in fact, Kevin Durant has invested in other cannabis-related businesses. And to, further this along, it's because he wants to, possibly get to what's at hand in the NBA where marijuana still remains banned. But they did, during the Orlando bubble, for temporarily ban the random drug testing now.
Right. Basically, they said you guys could get high all you want. Don't worry about it.
We're not coming what they said. They said they banned the random drug testing.
Yes. But that tells you that you could smoke. I've been covering this league since 1987.
But
guys smoke weed. Guys don't get busted because most of the time they know when the tests are coming and they know when they're supposed to do it. Not my point.
Cephalosha, by the way, was the last person to be disciplined by the NBA in 2018.
And how long ago was that?
2018.
Yes, it's been years. They've turned their heads to it.
It was 3 years ago.
Okay, here's my point.
It's been years. You're making it sound like it's been in the 80s. It was 3 years ago.
Here's my point, Lee. When Kevin Durant was asked if he partakes in the weed, he declined to answer. He's the one who wants to get rid of the stigma. But Martin, let me make my point first, and then you go, okay? If he wants to get rid of the stigma, why is he afraid to say that he partakes in weed, which he can smoke in the off season or whenever, and there's no test, and you can do whatever you want? He's a star player who obviously can function and do whatever he does. And for people to say, well, just because he's involved in cannabis and he invests in it doesn't mean he smokes it. Yeah, right. My point is, if it's okay and you want to get rid of the stigma, you got to stand up and be counted. And if the 10 or 20 best NBA players stood up and said, we smoke weed and we don't think it's a bad thing, and here's the reasons why, and we need to stop, marking people with a check mark if you find out that they smoke weed or whatever. That's how you make changes. For him to say that he doesn't want to discuss it just sounds weird to me, like he's ashamed, like he's afraid that people will look at him differently. Like, I don't know, they won't sign him to some deals. He's got making $50 million a year.
Yeah.
He doesn't need any deals.
Exactly.
He can sign a cannabis deal.
First of all, if we're going to make the point that, like, if you can go up and say your vaccination status is a personal choice, then yeah, I'm going to go ahead and be perfectly fine with Kevin Durant not disclosing whether or not he wants to tell people.
No. He says he wants to not to be a stigma.
Right.
How do you get to that point, Martin?
If we're allowing people, like, literal a public health crisis to be a personal choice, I'll let this one go ahead and rock as a personal choice. Kevin Durant doesn't want to say he gets high. That's fine. But Martin, the thing is, it's not a secret. It's not a secret that he's out smoking weed in general. Like, it's not a crazy secret. But the thing is, when you look at all these sponsorships that he has on the deck, and then also, too, this is temporarily banned. It's not up yet. It's not gone yet. It's not the idea that weed. I understand the picture you just painted, but it's not true. Like, at any point in time, the NBA could come back down and say
they can't do it tomorrow. They would have to give the play.
What do you mean they can't? I want you to literally explain to me how they cannot.
Easily.
What do you mean they can't?
Because they can't just tomorrow, okay, we're testing starting tomorrow. They would have to give the players a chance to get off the weed, to get it out of their system, and then get back to what they were doing.
But they could bring it back, though, right? That's the whole point of what you were saying.
But they're not coming backwards. They're not going backwards on it, Martin.
Here's the
other point.
There's no evidence that they're not. There's no evidence that they won't go backwards.
I want you to give me one question. Answer one question for me. How do you stop it from being a stigma? Can you explain to me how do you stop it if you're not willing to stand up and raise your hand and say,
put your money behind it and you promote it? What do you mean?
No, you got to do more than that. That ain't enough. Yes, it is.
No, you don't, because he's at. Why would you put a target on your back? That's ridiculous.
No, you got to show other people
in a league.
That successful people who function in this society can smoke weed. It's not just about the munchies. It's not just about zoning out and you can't drive or you can't do this or you can't do that or you're going to fall asleep after you have a joint or whatever it is. I'm not against people smoking weed, but I don't understand why people are so afraid to stand up. They love it. They smoke it every day. He's not
afraid to stand up. He just did an interview with ESPN talking about the benefits of cannabis.
Declined. He
The
declined.
entire impetus of this topic is Kevin Durant not being afraid to stand up for using marijuana.
No, he declined when they asked him about his use.
That's the only reason we're having this conversation. Otherwise, like, you make it seem like Kevin Durant was asked in a post-game interview, do you smoke weed? No. Or do you smoke weed? Yes. And now all of a sudden we have to address his post. No. He invested in a weed company. Like, literally, that's what Weedmaps does. He didn't invest in a weed company because he's not interested in weed, Martin. No, don't be naive. He invested in a weed company because he sees an opportunity to make money.
No, that's it. No, because he likes to smoke weed as well. I mean, and here's my thing.
Rob, do you invest in things? Do you have stock? Do you hold stocks? Do you use every single company that you hold stock in?
But the weed is different.
I got Carnival Cruises. I will never step on a cruise ship. I think cruises is ridiculous. I don't like it. But everybody else in America hops on a cruise as soon as they get the opportunity to. So I have stock in them. So I've invested in them. Do I take cruises? No.
Are you telling me that most people who are involved, I'm not saying all, but most people you don't think indulge in weed who back the weed, and he's
I
the
think
one.
People who buy weed indulge in weed. Yes, I agree with that.
Okay, he's the one who said he wanted to not have it be a stigma. That is my biggest point. So when people call up here today at 877-99 on Fox, I want you, if you're a proud weed smoker, I want you to announce it. I want you to say it with your chest stuck out. If that's what you enjoy and you don't have a problem with it, say it. That's all I'm saying. To not make if we get 5 calls and everybody's on the weed,
what is Kevin Durant telling you he smokes weed do for you? That's what I need to know. They should do nothing. Like, how does it affect your life?
Because the more people come out who are successful and doing well in society, and it's not just some burnout or some guy just getting high who wants to play video games all day and fall
video
asleep
games all day,
and eat munchies.
Rob, this is not 1965. This is not Reefer Madness anymore. Like, I don't know.
There were
what
plenty of guys who still do
that. The Get
that.
High at Lunch bunch has been retired, buddy.
No,
like,
that's not true. There are guys who smoke weed all day, play video games, and don't put on socks. I mean, it happens every day.
Sure, but why? That's not the stigma of the current marijuana smoker. I'm sorry that you will still watch black and white TV, but we live in California. You can buy an ounce of weed within 3 miles 7 times in this area. Like, that's not, it's just not, like, no one is making this big of a deal about it but you. But I don't understand why you need him to go up there and say he smoked weed when all of the things that potentially could happen to him would be negative.
You know, when you go to Alcoholic Anonymous, you know what you do, Martin? You say, "Hi, I'm Rob
You admit
Parker."
you have a drinking problem. Kevin Durant got a weed problem. Kevin Durant got no problem.
No, I'm just trying to say. So
what are you trying to say?
In this case, if he said I made an investment and he didn't bring up the idea of trying to desensitize people to weed and say, like he said, so that people don't look at it as a stigma, it would be good if he leads the charge to say, I'm a weed
That's the
smoker.
reason he invested
Hold
in it.
on.
It's for you, people like you
I'm
who
a
are
weed
leading the charge
smoker.
oppositely.
I'm not leading it oppositely because I don't have a stake in it. I've never smoked a joint. I'm not interested in weed, but I don't care if other people do it. That's their business. My only
Unless
point
it's Kevin
is,
Durant, because it's not his business then.
No, because he was asked in an interview about his weed
and
smoking.
he said it was his
and
business.
he didn't say he didn't do it. He just said he don't want to divulge it. And my point is, in order to stop it from being a stigma, people need to speak up. We want to hear from you. 877-99 on Fox. This is going to be very interesting. I want to hear, hey, if you call up, if you smoke weed, I want you to say, hey, I'm Bill and I'm a weed smoker. And then give me your response.
At the end of the day,
I'm Tom and I'm not a weed smoker.
At the end of the day, Kevin Durant has sponsors he has to answer to. He has his contract in the NBA that he has to uphold, in which it is still not off the banned substances list, which you're asking him to admit that he uses something that was on the banned substances list.
If you don't test positive, it doesn't matter if you say you smoke weed.
As 24 months ago, it was on the banned substance list, and you want him to stand on the ESPN camera and say, hell yeah, I get high. That's ridiculous and it's absurd.
It's not absurd because you don't get suspended if you don't test positive. So what are you talking about? You don't get banned if you don't test positive. Just by saying it doesn't mean you're going to be suspended. It doesn't make any sense what you're saying.
So by saying it, you're meaning to tell me that the NBA would just, let's say the NBA goes back on the weed. Let's say they come out.
Yeah, but they would have to test him and he'd have to test positive.
So you don't think he would test? You don't think he would be tested?
No, he would be smart enough to know not to test.
You don't think what do you mean smart enough to know not to test? You don't get to skip a test? No, how does that work?
I'm
what
talking
part of the
about
game is that?
They will let him know when they're testing him. 877-99 on Fox. My only reason to bring Kevin Durant in this is because he said he wanted to work to change the narrative about cannabis, and he wants to get rid of the stigma that's attached to it by a lot of people for people who smoke weed. If you smoke weed and you're calling up, or if you don't smoke weed, I would love for you, if you feel comfortable, to say, once we get these calls on, that you smoke weed or you don't smoke weed, and then your topic, and then your answer to this question. 877-99 on Fox.
Let's go to Ted in Austin. You're on The Odd Couple.
How you doing, Rob, man? My name is Dante Johnson. I smoke weed every day. I get high every day.
Thank you.
And let me just say this real quick. Alcohol has killed more people than weed ever will. I never watched a news see somebody die because they was loaded.
Dante,
okay.
let me ask you a question.
Hold on, Dante. Hold on.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into this conversation, okay? I'm just asking you. Would it be better if Kevin Durant says he wants to get rid of the stigma if some big name celebrities admitted to smoking weed? That's what I want to hear from you.
If it don't affect your money, admit it. That's what I said.
Do they drug test at your job?
I work for me.
There you go.
Right. Okay.
Way to go.
Appreciate the call. Thanks for your honesty. 877-99 on Fox.
See, Mike in Seattle, you're on The Odd Couple. What you got, buddy?
Hello?
Yep. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, my name is Mike. I'm an old weed grower from Alaska, played a lot of football. The problem is with weed, I used to smoke weed. The problem is with weed these days, I'm 59 years old, and all these legal places, they got so much money with chemists and stuff, they're building these things called dabs. And dabs is pure THC. And these kids are smoking pure THC, going into these legal weed stores here in Seattle, and it's bad.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's go to the next one. I want us to stay on topic here.
Let's go to Joseph.
Do you want to hear? Do you want to hear from NBA stars or athletes or actors or whoever, high-profile people, if they admit to smoking weed, will that change the stigma?
Joseph in Indiana, you're on the Odd Couple. What you got, buddy?
How are you guys tonight?
Doing good.
Doing well.
I'm Joseph, and I do not smoke weed.
Okay.
All right.
Do you want Kevin Durant to speak up? Is he talking out of both sides of his mouth? He wants to end the stigma, but he won't acknowledge that he smokes weed.
If Kevin Durant's got to do what he's got to do to make money, if he can push the issue, if it continues to make him money, but if it doesn't, he should just keep his money flowing. Because like how Jordan kept his money going without being in politics.
All right, thank you. And that was not good. It's good to speak out about things that aren't right. 877-99 on Fox.
Let's go to Trucker Justin in Illinois. Drive safe, buddy. You're on the Odd Couple.
Yo!
Gentlemen, I used to be a lazy teenager stoner. Now I'm a truck driver, and I'm monitored by the DOT, and I don't smoke marijuana. But I want to tell you a quick little story that will wrap this up real quickly. My 70-year-old mother was on methadone for 15 years because of pain.
Yikes.
And I got her to try Quality CBD, a company that's been around. I'm not going to market them, but it's called Quality CBD company. And in 1 year, I got my mom completely off of methadone and uses CBD daily.
Now, that's good. Now, let me ask you.
Should be doing that.
Okay, let me ask you. If big name athletes like Durant says he wants to get the stigma off of cannabis, do you need guys like him and others to speak up about it and acknowledge that they use it?
Absolutely, because what has to happen is there has to get rid of this stigma that lazy people smoke weed. There are lots of successful normal people that smoke marijuana.
I don't know the stigma that lazy people smoke weed exists in 2021.
Yes, it does. It still
to
does.
you, because you're 60 years old.
What? I'm not 60.
You're 59 what? You're coming from forever ago. I'm telling you, I think this is an outdated opinion. I think, and you know what? I can't remember the caller just now, but he said to save KD's money. If KD had a lifetime Nike contract and it was not
KD's money's not going to get touched. If he
had a lifetime Nike contract,
it's
like
not
LeBron.
Touch.
If KD had a stop it, you stop it. If KD had let me talk. If KD had a lifetime Nike contract and wasn't beholden to certain sponsors to continue his lifestyle, then maybe he would come out and say it was weed. If it comes out in the next CBA that weed is off of the banned substance list, maybe he'll come out and say it. But until that day, it's too much at risk for Kevin Durant to go out there and say it.
877-99 on Fox.
Let's go to Coach K in Mississippi. You're on the Odd Couple.
Rob,
what you got?
Good to be on. I am not a weed smoker, but I do work in a college environment in another state, and I think that if a coalition of players, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and hockey, if they came out together and said it, I think it would have more clout and more power, and I think they could get the same.
That's fair. And Coach, let me go ahead, and then I'm going to ask you a question. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay. My question is relevant to when Peyton Manning was with the Broncos, and he had those several neck surgeries, and they legalized marijuana in Colorado, and he went out and bought a bunch of pizza joints. Nobody asked him if he smoked weed, and I just I just wanted to get your opinion on why nobody ever asked Peyton that question.
Yeah, I don't know, and the only reason I even bring up the Durant thing is because, Coach, he's the one who said he wanted to help get rid of the stigma. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that if a big name players get together and say, hey, we do it, we're not bad people, you know what I mean? It relaxes me, it does whatever it does for me. That's how you start to get rid of the stigma. But people who do it have to stand up and speak up. It just sounds like you're being hypocritical. You want to get rid of the stigma, but you don't want to acknowledge it. So you're saying, by not saying it, that it's still a bad thing. That's why you won't say it.
I agree with that, Rob, but I think the stigma is with our age group, the above 55 age group. Because working on a college campus, let me tell you, it's commonplace among the kids.
Let them know, Coach K.
Presidential scholars or they're dropouts. I mean, it's just commonplace with them. And they have a totally different view of marijuana than what we have.
Look, Coach K, dealing with the youth of America on a regular basis, agreeing with me and telling you you're wrong. How about that?
He didn't say I was wrong. Can we squeeze one more in? One more? You got one more?
Let's go to Sailor in Des Moines. You're on the Odd Couple.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, Sailor.
All right, I'm a proud weed smoker, and I just think KD, if he's doing this for the cause of he wants to get rid of the stigma, why not own up to that he smokes?
Yes.
What's he scared of?
Because that's what I'm talking about. 100%.
About the money, he's got enough money to make it for. He's good. It shouldn't be about that. If he's doing it for the stigma, truly, then he should be proudly admitting it. Why not?
That's all. That's all he has to say is yes, I partake. He doesn't have to say how often. Yes, I partake. It works.
The next
for
question
me.
is how often.
It's not a bad thing.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Go ahead, Sailor. I'm sorry.
I would just say he doesn't have to go into any specifics. Agreeing with Rob 100%. He can say he smokes weed proudly, recreationally. He doesn't have to say anything other than that.
That's all he has to say. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it a lot. All right.